Hey, everybody. It's Kim Gravel with the Kim Gravel Show. We got a fun show today, Zach. It's so much fun. It's fun and serious and informative, but I mean, we're talking about etiquette.
I have an etiquette question for you, Kim, to start the show.
Oh,
Before we even bring on our guest, I have an etiquette question for you.
Okay.
What is the etiquette of
Pressure.
cloning someone else's voice? Maybe someone who's the host of a podcast that you produce.
No. What is the cloning saying? What is the clone saying?
Yeah, it depends. So I was like messing around with AI the other day, and I
love AI.
I just was curious to see what would happen if I made an AI voice that's your voice. Like I made it as a clone from audio clips from you. Okay. And I was curious to see what would happen if I made it laugh. And this is what I want to share with you. This is AI
This
Kim.
is my AI laugh.
This is your AI laugh.
Oh, Lord.
You can't unhear this, just for the record.
Okay. You know what it sounds like? What? It sounds like somebody doing like breath work or giving birth.
It does.
It sounds nothing like I laugh.
So, all right, wait. So that was me writing ha, 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 ha over and over again, but with spaces between. If you don't put spaces between, this is what happens.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, he hefferkri, you heffer, if you hofuti her chi har tishi, he of harkiki atistirchi.
You're speaking in tongues, Kim.
That said heifer in there twice. It said the word heifer, which is true. That's more true to what I would say.
Oh my gosh.
I love AI. I got to tell you, I absolutely am obsessed.
There are some really interesting things you could do with AI now. I will say that.
Yeah, a little bit too interesting at times, but yeah, AI is the future. So everybody don't manage it, lean into it, embrace it, but there's nothing like the real laugh. Let me do the real laugh. That's my real laugh.
That was good. You're like,
yeah.
Can you cry on cue too, Kim?
I cannot.
Okay. All right. Should we start the show?
Let's start the show. Y'all, we have a great show today. But first, did you know that there's always bonus content in my free newsletter? Zach, people don't know we have a newsletter that we send out every week. I have been responding to listener voicemails, and so has Zach, and been putting them in the newsletter. So go and sign up at kimgravelshow.com. And if you like the show, please share it with other people, because we want to grow this community of amazing women who love who they are right where they're at. And we want you to be encouraged and lifted up. And we want you to have a real gut laugh too, not the AI laugh. We want you to laugh with us. So go to kimgravelshow.com, sign up for the newsletter, and enjoy that bonus content. And hey, get ready, buckle up, baby, because we're going to be learning how to do proper etiquette with Nick Leighton. We'll be right back.
This is the Kim Gravel Show.
Would you want to live in a world with no etiquette whatsoever? What an insane, bonkers world that would be.
I'm in love with you right now.
I mean, for me, this versus this, I'm comfortable in the same way. Same manners, different etiquette.
I don't think I've ever heard it put so plainly.
I secretly called a bunch of your family.
Wow, I don't know if that's good etiquette. Oh my goodness. We want to use a tone that is non-judgmental and value neutral.
Okay, you've just changed my whole way of communicating.
I think etiquette at the end of the day is just that other people exist.
All right, y'all, my guest this week is a 2-time Emmy Award-winning TV journalist and producer. He has interviewed hundreds of celebrities, but that's not why I've brought him here today. He is here because he is also, get this, y'all, an etiquette expert. Yeah. He's going to teach us some things today. He co-hosts a hilarious etiquette podcast called Were You Raised by Wolves? And I say that in an attitude and as a question. So be thinking about that, which is one of my favorite podcasts. And I'm excited to welcome Nick Leighton. Nick, how is that for etiquette right there? I mean, just right off the bat.
That's great. If the idea of good etiquette is that you want to make your guests feel welcome, then you're nailing it. Totally nailing it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, we got to get right into it because there is so much to share. We got to get it all in. But you've done so much, Nick. Let's just, can you brief everybody a little bit about your background, who you are, what you've done? I mean,
Sure.
you've gotten around.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know if that's good etiquette, phrasing it that way. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you've been around. Wow. No, but I've done many things over the years. So yeah, before I got into the etiquette podcast game, I worked in local television for a long time.
Yeah.
Which was, wild and fun. I worked in local television in the Hamptons. And so I worked for a small network, which was sort of like closed access television for rich people. We had a station in the Hamptons, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, Aspen. Ooh. And so I did a lot of the event coverage, like the white tent charity events. And so like in an average summer, I would go to like 80 different charity events. So a lot of hors d'oeuvres. I also like hosted the live morning show, which was wild because I would be like the penguin from the zoo, but also like Edward Albee. So it was a wild time.
But like, how did you get into etiquette then? I mean, like, cause that is where are you from? Like, cause etiquette, I'm from the South and we were always talking this and that and patch. Okay.
So I am from Northern California and I kind of grew up in, I guess, sort of like a hippy dippy multicultural mini commune kind of thing where we had people from all over the world kind of coming through.
Yeah.
Before I was born, my family actually lived in Asia. And so it's just had international friends. And so growing up, I was just very aware of just like different traditions and cultures. And I've always been very interested in that because etiquette at the end of the day is that. And I guess this is a good time to like talk about like, what is etiquette versus like manners? And so for me, like manners are the universal thing. Like everybody has the same manners. Like we all want to raise good kids. We all want to be kind. We all want to take care of each other. Like universally, from Paris, Texas to Paris, France, like that is, we all want that. Etiquette is the way a different culture will then interpret those manners. And that's what's interesting because that's very different. Like it's good manners to not hit people in your car. We agree globally. We all want that.
Everybody agrees with that. Yes.
But in Australia, the etiquette is we drive on the left. In the United States, the etiquette is we drive on the right. Same manners, different etiquette. And so I love finding those moments of different ways different people do the same thing. And to me, that's etiquette.
Okay, that is like, I don't think I've ever heard it put so plainly so that people could understand. Because a lot of people think etiquette is like, what fork do I eat with at the table?
I know.
Right?
I know. Yeah. I mean, and it's not that, but it's so not that. Like that's
so much
the
more.
least of our problems. Yeah. Like, have you been on an airplane? Is the what fork to use the problem on an airplane in etiquette? No.
It's if you pass gas, somebody passes gas
you're
next
taking
to you.
off
That's
your
poor
socks. I mean, it's like you're clipping your toenails. I mean, I don't care what fork you're using. Like, can we not be clipping our toenails into the aisle?
Oh my God. I am in love with you right now.
Like, can we not be doing that?
But honestly, has our etiquette gotten worse though? I mean, has it gotten worse over the years? Because like my kids don't know the things that I know even. And I mean, here I'm calling myself out on poor parent etiquette. In fact, I've got questions from my family, but answer that question because I think
it's a really good question because there is this feeling like, it's so much worse now than I remember. But it's never been good. It's never been good. Like Plato, thousands of years ago, was annoyed when people were talking during like a theatrical performance. And he said, maybe we should just hit people with sticks. Or more than 100 years ago, Emily Post, 1922, she was annoyed by young people, also at the theater, it's always at the theater, talking during the performance. And she's like, y'all should just stay home and just listen to the phonograph if that's what you want to do. Like, don't bother the rest of us. And that was 100 years ago.
The phonograph.
There are books in the Renaissance talking about people clipping their toenails in public and like how gross that is. So
that's
like,
disgusting.
Right. But like, we haven't learned nothing, No. It's the same problems. Like, it's always been not great. So I think just the way it's not been great maybe has changed. And we also can now film it and broadcast it and share it in a way that we couldn't before. So it feels like it's happening more. But I think bad etiquette has been with us forever. Like, I actually don't think it's actually worse.
Well, that's why we need you because
here's the thing, Kim. So you don't actually know this. I secretly called a bunch of your family and got them to record voice memos. So it's not in the script, Kim. I'm going to play a few of these.
Nick.
So Nick, you have to be, what can we describe? How can we describe your family, Kim, for Nick, who maybe doesn't?
I would say they're country come to town.
Okay.
Classy, sassy, and country.
And where are they located? Give me a geography.
We're in Georgia, honey.
So everybody's in Georgia. Everybody who's written in is in Georgia.
Everyone's in Georgia.
Okay.
And very loud and very dominant. Like we don't have any introverts in the family.
Okay.
I feel like I'm prefacing. I feel like I'm trying to give you a little disclaimer.
The lady doth protest too much. Okay.
A little bit.
Let's hear it.
Let's play this first one.
Okay.
This is Allisyn. So for the audio listeners, this is Allisyn's voice coming up. She sounds a lot like Kim, we've heard on the pod. So just warning everybody. Here she is.
Oh my gosh.
Oftentimes when I go to breakfast with my family, and we go every Friday morning, it's like a family breakfast deal. If there's more than me and my husband and my mom and my dad, I will let somebody else pay for it. Is it bad that I only want to pay for it when it's 4 people versus like 10? Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend.
Okay, interesting. So we're going out to some restaurant.
Yeah, we go out every Friday morning to breakfast. And so what happens is when she goes and it's just like a few people, she will pick up the tab because we rotate tabs. But when we go and it's like the full family, like there's 10 of us, I pick up the tab.
Okay. So I guess what's the question? Is that wrong?
Yeah, is it wrong? Is that
because she'll skip the rotation. She'll skip the rotation.
And everybody's noticed.
Correct.
Okay, but she clearly doesn't feel bad about it.
No, sir.
Okay. Well, I guess the question is, do you mind? Because it sounds like you're the one picking up the slack here.
Yes.
Okay, so then I think we might need to say something privately.
We need
not
to say
at the restaurant. Let's not embarrass her at the table not in front of everybody.
Not on a podcast, Nick.
Maybe not on a podcast to a global audience. Maybe not. But yeah, I think a polite yet direct conversation. Hey, I noticed you skipped your turn. Would it be possible next time? I love treating everybody, but I think for fairness, it'd be nice to rotate this.
Yeah, I mean, she when the bill comes and it's all of us, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I left my purse."
Well, next time maybe you just be like, "Oh, you have your purse with you, right?" At the start of the meal.
At the start of the meal, you should. Kim, ask her
what would
for
happen
something.
if you didn't pay? If you're just like, I'm not going to put down my credit card. It's not my turn. What would happen?
We would probably have to split it up, or I'd get arrested. It'd be one of the two. Yeah.
Okay. She's bold though. She's real bold.
She's very bold.
She's bold.
She's
all right. Well, here
very bold, Nick. Okay.
We're going to hear the second Allisyn, even bolder. Here we go.
She's got 2.
So listen, y'all. If I went on a vacation to my family's rental home and I got self-tanner, let's just say, on the sheets that was not able to be washed out, so that they had to buy new ones to replace it. Do you think that I should have to pay the $400 to replace it because I was asked on the vacation? This is our family vacation rental home. Or do you think that I should pay for those sheets? And it was more than just one sheet, so it wasn't just mine. I don't know. You tell me.
I mean, this feels easy. Yes. You damaged something, you replace it. Doesn't matter whose thing you damaged. If it's a sibling, a parent, a spouse.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if the homeowner want to be like, no, don't worry about it, then like, okay. But like, you definitely at least need to offer.
The homeowner is me. The homeowner is me, Nick.
But I mean, next time you just put down plastic sheets for her. I don't think she gets the good thread count anymore. Or save those sheets for her. And those are the sheets she sleeps on when she goes there.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Don't replace them. Those are her now. Those are her sheets.
Those are hers. They're tanned. They have a tan. I'm picturing, was it like a tanned imprint of her just in the sheets?
It's the Shroud of Turin.
It's the Shroud of Turin.
Yeah.
It was the Shroud of Turin. It was like, bless her heart. I mean, just like, it looked just like a bunch of dirt. Or something worse had gotten on the sheets.
She should, I get that families sometimes we were like a little looser with etiquette. I do hope that when she's out in the wild, outside of the family, if something like this happens, she does show a little more courtesy. Because otherwise, like, she can always come back to your family house. Like, you're not going to not invite her, but she's not going to be a house guest at other places. If you did that to me and you ruined my sheets and didn't offer to pay for them, you're probably not going to get invited back.
But let me ask you something, Nick. If I was to send Allisyn to you for a week's worth of training, would that cost me a lot? Because it might be worth it.
It would definitely be worth it, though. Oh, yeah.
It'd be worth it.
Yeah.
So Amy sent one.
Oh, my gosh.
This is gift giving related.
Uh-oh.
She's a person of etiquette, by the way.
She is. But it turns out maybe some other people in your family are not, Kim. Let's find out.
So Joe gets mad at Travis because she says that he always takes his gifts that she gets him for Christmas and then takes them back. They get mad. And another thing on that same vein is that Allisyn is a big regifter. So she's always like regifting things.
Yeah.
So Travis is Kim's husband.
And he's returning gifts. So we give him a gift and he takes it back to the store.
Right. Almost every gift and gets the cash back.
And what does he do with that cash? Buy him something that he does want? Or he's just like,
we're not sure.
Okay.
He's probably just buying gas. He's a person that he's not a gift receiver. He doesn't receive gifts well.
Okay.
Because he's a little quirky and he's very particular.
Okay.
And my family's just like, tell me what you want. We're going to get it and wrap it up. But it's not just the right thing. He pretty much takes everything back. And then my sister regifts everything. Actually, there's a gift I gave her that she regifted it to me like a year later.
Okay. That's not how that's supposed to go. No.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about regifting first. Regifting, a lot of different schools of thought on this. Some people are like, oh, don't ever do it. I think it's fine if you can get away with it. But but you have to be able to get away with it. So it has to be a good gift. It has to be something you would get the person anyway. It can't just be like some extra thing you had in your house. So we have to start with like, it has to be a good gift. And then it has to be given to somebody totally outside of the circle, because we cannot connect the dots. So you can't give like a gift that you got from Janet in HR to like Bobby in accounting. Like, no, that's too similar. So certainly within your family, definitely not. Certainly back to you, the giver. No, you didn't get away with it. And you have to make sure it wasn't monogrammed or like inscribed, which happens with like books and stuff. So you just have to make sure like, oh, it's not like some specific thing. But yeah, I think gifting is fine if, you follow the rules. And returning things, I don't know. I mean, it's polite not to, once you give a gift, it is up to the receiver to do with that gift as they wish.
That's what I was thinking.
That's kind of, so if it's just wanted to return it, then that's what that is.
How is he receiving it though, Kim? Because
he's receiving it pretty good. And then, but it makes my mother mad because she's like, I'm not going to buy you anything because you take everything back.
Yeah. Well, then, I mean, I think that's actually something to note. Yeah. You clearly don't like the things I give you and you just want cash. So here's, I guess, cash. I mean, is that what we have to do?
That could work. Okay. That could work. Yeah. I don't know. They just have that, it's son-in-law and mother-in-law relationship, which is really special. They have a great relationship, but it is a little
surely
tricky.
There's something that he likes or enjoys, an experience, a sports team that he likes. And here's tickets to the game. There must be some road trip y'all are going to be doing soon. And here's something related to that. Like, I feel like we could get a gift that dials in a little tighter.
I know, but Nick, I think he kind of does it to kind of stick it to people too a little bit. It's his shtick. And so that's where it would be not good etiquette.
I mean, to make people feel bad about the gift. Because the idea of the gift is like, I wanted to do something nice for you and I wanted to get something that I thought would please you. I mean, that's kind of like what I want as a gift giver. And so it sounds like, this may not be received as graciously as maybe it could be.
Hey, Kim, I have a new sound effect on my soundboard. Do you want to hear it?
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Do you know what that is?
That's a cash register. Cha-ching. That's that cha-ching sound. I recognize that sound because it's another sale on Shopify. Not to toot my own horn, but toot toot. I hear that sound every day because that's what I use. I use my Shopify for our cosmetic brand, Love Who You Are, for our jewelry brand. When we launched Love Who You Are a few months ago, and I can't tell you how helpful Shopify made it. Even with like the questions that we had, it was so easy to set up my online store and launch this new brand. So you got to give it a try. If you've been out there wondering, gosh, should I do something on my own? Everybody's doing these online businesses. The answer is yes, and use Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Kim, all lowercase. That is shopify.com/Kim, and use it to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Music to my ears, Zach. Start that business that you've always wanted to and grow with Shopify. I did it. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of out there to be made. Y'all know, you've heard me say over and over, I've been eating Factor meals for about a year now, and I absolutely love them. They have been a part of my weight loss journey. I'm so thrilled with them. And this has been one of my healthiest years of my life, seriously. And it's because of Factor. It helps meet my wellness goals every single day, and especially for the summer when I just need that quick grab and go meal. But here's the problem. Got one problem. The worst part about Factor for me is how easy and delicious they are, because my family, and particularly my children, keep stealing them right up under my nose. I mean, I've tried it all. I've tried all the different types of food. It doesn't matter. They love them all. These kids with their fast metabolism can eat anything they want. I mean, I'm serious. But they keep choosing my Factor meals. So I literally had to get a second Factor subscription and a second fridge that's hidden downstairs so they can't find them, just so I can have some Factor meals left over for myself. I tell my kids that Factor meals are not for them. But y'all, truth be told, teenagers love fast, delicious food with no prep and no mess, just like we do. So I can't keep them away. And y'all, I don't even care that they're eating all my Factor meals, because there's such great food options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto, because it tastes so good and it's so easy, but also it's so good for them. So head on over to factormeals.com/Kim50 and use code Kim50 to get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off of your next month. That's Kim50 at factormeals.com/Kim50 to get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Get ready for your food to get gone, but get ready for the easiest, yummiest meals of your life. What is proper etiquette? Like, is there some rules? Is there a book?
Are there rules? Are there books? Yes.
Okay.
Of course. I mean, yes, there's definitely different categories of etiquette. So yeah, like there's the books, what fork to use. How do you eat watermelon at a formal dinner party? Like wait a minute. How do you eat watermelon at a formal? I love me some watermelon. Don't serve watermelon at a formal dinner party, I guess is the first thing.
All right.
But if you are, I mean, do you really want to know? I mean, if you did want to, you would serve it in like a compote glass. And Amy Vanderbilt, she likes when you serve it with white wine. So you would do that. And then you would probably use a spoon. Although Judith Martin, Miss Manor, she prefers a fork if it's evening, or use melon baller. There's a lot of rules for watermelon. There's a lot to talk about with watermelon. But I think etiquette at the end of the day is just that other people exist. Like that's kind of what it is. It's just acknowledging other people exist. You exist in a home that has sheets. This family member exists who I want to give a gift card to. It's just acknowledging that like other people in the world exist. Because etiquette also is a give and take. Because I would love to be selfish 24/7. I would love that. But we live in a society and we have to deal with other people. Yeah. And so in order for that to work, for the machinery to be lubricated, etiquette is that lubrication. It's the thing that just kind of makes the machinery work. And so we all have to give a little. You know, all of us have to hold the door at Starbucks. All of us have to return our shopping cart so that the door is held for us. So that there's a shopping cart available for us. And so that's what etiquette is. It's just this give and take, though. As a society, we've just agreed that's what it is. So all the etiquette rules actually do come down to that fundamental truth. Even the what fork to use rule comes down to this idea. But that's really at the end of the day what it is.
Okay, well, since you said because we all exist, and that's where to start from. Okay, so I think, what's it called, Zach? It's not mesophilia. What is it called? Misophonia.
Misophonia, yeah.
Where sounds and chewing sounds and smacking and just sounds trigger.
Sure.
So like when I'm around someone who's like chewing really loudly or popping gum, like, oh my God, popping gum sends me into like a nervous tick.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of annoying, especially like when you're in TV or you're in close quarters or whatever. And so I always take my AirPods or earphones. But when I'm in professional situations where, I don't say anything, do you think I could politely just ask someone like not to chew loudly ever, Nick? Is that appropriate?
Yeah. Well, I think etiquette is contextual. So like if you are meeting with the CEO of QVC and they're smacking gum and it's an important business meeting, I think we don't say anything. I think we tough it out. But if you
Which I have before, just saying.
Yeah, because I think etiquette is all about picking your battles. Not everything requires us to weigh in. Sometimes we just let things go and pretend something's not happening. Like etiquette also is a lot about fiction and just pretending like, oh, this is not happening. Like at a theater, when somebody is wanting to pass your seat and their butt is like this far away from your face, we pretend that's not happening. On an airplane, we pretend that we're not this close to everybody else when we're having our meal, which is also why you can start your meal before everybody in your row is served because it's not a dinner party, because we're pretending we're alone. So etiquette is a fiction. So if somebody's chewing gum, can we just pretend it's not happening? But there are times when you want to say something or you can't handle it and whatever it is.
Well, I do it. If you're on my team doing it, I'll do it. Like if I'm in a meeting and I'm on a team, they're doing it, I'm like, y'all calm down.
But then it's like, how do you do it? And so I often talk about, we want to use a tone that is non-judgmental and value neutral. And so that's the tone we want to use. And it's sort of like, if I was going to be like,
what do you mean by value neutral? What'd you say?
So
non-judgmental.
So if you're like, oh, is that orange juice? Like, oh no, this is a glass of water. That's a value neutral statement. I'm not judging you. Why would you think that's orange juice? No, it's just, oh no, this is not orange juice. This is actually just a glass of water.
Okay. Oh, that's a good word.
Value neutral, non-judgmental tone. So, would it be possible to spit out your gum? Value neutral, non-judgmental. Nice request.
Okay, you've just changed my whole way of communicating. Value neutral. It's just stating facts and asking that's it.
Would it be possible to spit out your gum?
I'm totally using that.
And it's a request. Etiquette is also often not a negotiation. So it's sort of like, we'll make the request. If they want to deny that request, then it's sort of like, do you want to push it further or do we let it go? Usually letting it go, depending on what it is, sometimes we just let it go. But yeah, we always just want to...
Do you take the responsibility and you say like, I've got a problem with it. I've got a situation, like...
Well, in psychology, if you give some reason for your request, often it is easier for somebody to agree. I mean, this happens at airports all the time. If you wanted to cut through security, if you're just like, excuse me, coming through, that's not going to be as effective as, would it be possible to cut? My flight is about to leave and like, I'm going to miss it. You're definitely going to get more people on board if you kind of give people a reason.
Okay.
Or like,
that's awesome.
It often happens like on an airplane too. Like, oh, could we switch seats because my child who's 8 years old is in the other row. So could we swap? Sometimes the reason helps. So yeah, I have this thing where it sounds like this really strike a chord. Would it be possible to spit out your gum for this meeting?
Oh, I love it. Okay. Yeah. Body odor question. I have teenage boys.
Okay.
They stink. And of course, I have no problem saying, look, go put some deodorant on. But the neighbors' kids, do I say that to them or no?
I mean, it's real hard to parent someone others, somebody else's kids. Right?
That's true.
And I think often the answer is, how would you feel if your neighbors did that to your kid? Are we cool with that? Is that the relationship we have or no? It's a relationship we have because if I've got a booger hanging out or I've got something in my teeth, I want someone to tell me. Okay. But do you want your neighbors to tell your kids that they smell?
If they smelled, I would be okay with it, but I see where you're going.
Yeah. I mean, it could be, the idea is like, we don't want to, like etiquette. Well, correcting people's etiquette is really reserved for parents or people in sort of a parental role or sort of a mentorship role. So like teachers can correct etiquette, a grandparent, certainly neighbors in a community could have this sort of like mentor role relationship. Like you don't have to be related to somebody to have that relationship with somebody. So if those neighbors do, then okay. But yeah, I mean, correcting other people's, it gets sticky. Definitely gets sticky.
It gets sticky. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah. How much am I allowed to digitally track my family members? Because we're all on Life 360. Okay. And like my nephew, I track him, and he sometimes turns off his permission. Like, is that appropriate? What's the etiquette like there?
Well, I guess it's what are we doing with this information? Right?
Yeah, Kim, what are you doing with this?
What are we doing?
I don't think it'd be proper etiquette to tell you that what we're doing with this. We gossip or share or stalk for sure.
And everybody has the option to turn this off though, right? So everybody
they
is
do, and he does quite
to
often.
opt in.
They opt in. Everybody's agreeing to opt in,
Sure.
but they forget sometimes that they've opted in. You know, they forget it out of sight.
Etiquette is local, as we've said. So the etiquette in your family is that we track each other, and that's what we do. That's our etiquette. And so
I want to ask this one follow up with that. So Nick, I will not say who's done this or how they've done it. It wasn't me and my family. So they turned off the permission at the Live 360, but this particular person put an Apple tracker. So is that appropriate? Like next level?
On what?
Yeah. What did they put the tracker on?
Yeah.
The car. It's in the car.
Yeah. I think once we get to that level, I think that's above my pay grade. That's no longer.
So that's not proper etiquette. That's not proper
I think
etiquette.
tracking people without their knowledge. Yeah, I think that's frowned upon. Yeah, I think that's frowned upon.
It's not me. I didn't do it. Rihanna did not. Okay.
But that feels. I feel like doing things without people's knowledge. That's a
little stalker 19. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that also applies to surprise parties. Like, do not throw a surprise party for people.
I agree with that.
Like, don't do that.
Wait, you're hard no on surprise parties ever? What if someone is like, I love surprises, and they kind of like drop hints?
If you know that person so well and you know that this is going to be exactly what they want and the guest list that they want and how it's going to go down, then of course, have at it. Rare is that.
Where's that person?
Rare is that.
Right. I mean, seriously.
And actually, it's never that person who these surprise parties are happening for. So I think as a general rule, know your audience, but I wouldn't want it. No.
What is dating etiquette? Because a lot of people are now like these apps are insane. Like how people are like Plenty of Fish, Match.com, Farmers, Only. I mean, like that's crazy with the apps. What is the proper etiquette dating when you are dating, you're meeting people on these dating apps? Because that is, so many people ask about that. Like, what's your profile picture supposed to be like? You go, like my friend goes out on dates and this guy, his picture's great. And his picture was like 14, 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I think being dishonest is not great. And I think having a photo that's clearly, we always want to put our best foot forward. A photo from 15 years ago is probably pushing it a little bit. It's probably pushing a little bit. Like you don't ever want to walk into the restaurant and somebody be like, not recognize you because it's so different. But I think we want to treat people with kindness is just a general baseline. I think these apps, because it does feel sort of more abstract, people are just a profile. It's hard to remember like, oh, these are actually 3-dimensional humans. Right. I think people are more callous, on the apps. And I think that is definitely a problem. I mean, it's the same thing with internet comments, people feel like they have license to say wild things about you, I get them. We all get them. And it's sort of like, you would never say this to me, to my face. No, you would never be able to do it. But somehow you feel totally comfortable in the comfort of your own home doing it. So dating apps have this flavor too, which is a little bit of a problem. Ghosting is also, I think, a bigger problem when you meet people through the apps than it is if you met through somebody. There's a little more sort of accountability. Like if you're introduced through a friend at work, like you're probably not going to ghost because like there's going to be a little more accountability to like the mutual friend. Where on the apps, this is way more common. And ghosting, there is a time for ghosting. It's not always inappropriate, but the times ghosting is happening, it's sort of like that was actually mean and that wasn't necessary.
Well, what about etiquette with social media? Because I will tell you, it's a jungle out there, Nick. I mean, it is just, there's so much, like what is really, like even for young people, how do they navigate social media from this point of view of etiquette? Because as parents, we're saying, don't worry about it, it's just people. And then, but I'm serious, like it's causing people, like they're getting catfished. They're getting blackmailed. I mean, kids are actually like have serious anxiety and drama and trauma because of it. Like what is right for people with social media? How should we view that from an etiquette standpoint?
Well, I think I use social media in the way of like I deal with the real life, like real world. So like I'm not going to say something on social media I wouldn't say at a cocktail party, you know. So I think if our online lives matched our offline lives, that would go very far. I think also social media has primed us all to comment. And respond. You know, it's always about the review after every service you get. You get a little survey. It's about, you know, reviewing every restaurant. It's about reviewing every hotel. It's about commenting on everybody's Instagram. And we're primed to always respond and comment and weigh in. And I think we don't have to. Etiquette does not require you to weigh in. And actually, no response is a response. And actually, I find not responding, like if you wanted to like, make it clear you were unhappy with something, not responding is way more devastating sometimes than
because you don't know what the other person's thinking. Absolutely.
Yeah. Or like, this is out of my mind. I don't care anymore. And so I think because we're always primed to and encouraged to always comment, you know, we always feel like our opinion matters. And sometimes it does not. Like it does. We don't need to weigh in on this thing. The review of the plastic file folders I just bought on Amazon, you don't need to know what I think about these things. You don't need my review for this. But this is what happens like at a concert where everybody's like watching the concert through their phones. Is just they don't know how to be in the real world. You know, we're just getting more comfortable interacting with the world through phones. And then also at concerts, like people are like throwing things. Somebody threw like their mother's ashes on Pink at a concert, or like threw like a Skittle at Harry Styles and like hit his eye. So like there is this instinct like, oh, I need to be the main character. Like I can't just let the person perform on stage. Like I need to be the main character here. And it's very hard with social media to not be the main character because we're the main character of all of our accounts. So what do we do with this? This is not etiquette anymore. This is just the world we live in. But I think just acknowledging that this is what is happening, I think is a good step to figure out like, oh, how do we just treat each other a little nicer and kinder? And with more consideration, acknowledge other people exist and are also real people.
Well, and I think that's why etiquette's important.
Oh, etiquette's very important. Yeah, no, there is this, some people feel like, oh, what is the point? It's fussy. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant anymore. But would you want to live in a world with no etiquette whatsoever? Like what an insane bonkers world that would be. Total chaos. Like there needs to be some structure here.
Well, it's the little things. You were saying it's the little things. Like someone didn't hold the door for me open at daycare yesterday when I was picking up my kid. And this is a door like that it shuts and then you have to like hit a button and get buzzed in and it's like a whole thing. And I was livid. Like I was so mad over like a door, right? And it's like, no, the etiquette of this place is you hold the door open if someone's walking behind you. Like,
yeah. And it's corrosive. Those little things, it's corrosive. You know, not one of these things is gonna, end the world, and no one's gonna die. No one's gonna go to jail, but it's corrosive, just chipping away. Yeah. Like if nobody sent thank you notes after their wedding for their presents, if nobody did that, why are we giving presents anymore? Then we're done with that.
But Nick, I got that with graduation gifts this year. I mean, very few for the kids that I gave graduation money to and gift cards did not send thank you cards.
That's rude. Yeah, that's real rude. And I would file it away. And the next time there's an occasion to give them gifts, I take that file out. I review that file. And I'm not going to not maybe send you a wedding gift, but I'm going to note like, oh, well, you didn't send me a thank you note for the last thing I sent you. You may not get the good gift this year. I might dial it back. I might dial, it may not be as extravagant as I would have if you actually showed any gratitude for any of the things I've done for you in the past.
Yeah, that's just proper etiquette. Yeah. All right, more with Nick. Well, we'll take a quick, short commercial break. And when we get back, Nick has brought some best etiquette questions from his show to ask for our take. So don't go anywhere. Oh, Lord, we got to answer questions. We'll be right back.
Kim, I've never done an ad read on the show before, but you're extremely good at selling stuff. So will you tell me what you think about this? You tell me if I do an okay job. Is that all right?
I got you, Zach. I got you.
Okay. Because a few weeks ago, one of my closest friends, Vince Rotunda, came to me and asked me if I could help him with this charity he runs called the Many Hands Project. They started in 2022 to help alleviate food insecurity in Metro Atlanta by partnering with local chefs and other volunteers who donate their time to make nutritious meals that get distributed through a partnership with Feeding Georgia Families. So here's the thing. Like Vince is one of the good guys. And the special part about this is that the volunteers are making the food that they like to eat. So it really matters, right? Because food made with love by a small all volunteer group is really special. Since Many Hands is all volunteer, it's 100% volunteer. So there's no paid employees. Any amount helps. 100% of the donation goes toward buying food. To donate, go to manyhandsproject.org/donate. Their website is it's not fancy. Like you're going to go there, you'll be like, oh, well, that's kind of a janky website. It's because they spend all their money on food, not web design. Vince did it himself. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like this is a small group of people trying to make a difference. Go to manyhandsproject.org/donate and make a donation.
Count me in, Zach.
Was that good?
Okay, you did amazing. Yeah, and now I'm going to donate. I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now. All right, we are back with Nick Leighton, who is like a TV producer. He's had his own shows. He's interviewed so many people and is the modern day etiquette expert. Okay, Nick, you said you brought some questions to ask us. Now, let me just tell you, I was Miss Georgia, went to Miss America, traveled the world, and I kind of think, not that I'm the perfect etiquette person, but I've been in situations where my etiquette has been called upon.
Oh, we all have? Yes.
Okay.
Well, so these are some questions that have actually come up in our show. And what is kind of fun about our show is that etiquette is so universal. Like everybody around the world has etiquette problems.
Have stories,
It's just globally. So our global audience has sent in amazing questions. So here's a couple. One is, quote, I'm a parent and I have a sticky situation with another parent in our close friend group. Our children are the same age and often interact with each other at school and neighborhood gatherings. My child often extends invitation to my friend's child, which he happily accepts, but doesn't reciprocate. We've come to accept this and are not forcing a friendship that doesn't come naturally. However, my friend's child has an elaborate destination birthday party coming up, for which I was asked to co-chaperone and assist with transportation. My child is not invited.
Are you crazy?
What?
I think it was rude for my friend to ask me to attend without my child. I politely declined the invitation by saying I already had plans. However, this isn't the first time a situation like this has come up, and I would like to respond without making an excuse. What should I say next time?
Nick, absolute.
It's bonkers. Totally bonkers.
No, you should really have that. I think, but I'm a confrontational person. So I would be like, honey, why would I do that? So is there something, I wonder if there's something wrong with that friend, the kid's friendship. Like something's happened there. There's more to that story.
But even, I mean, what do we do with this? Also, destination? Child's birthday party?
Yeah,
what
does
that
mean?
Are we going to sing Bart's?
I know, but for her not to invite her child, but want her to go and chaperone.
Wild. Totally wild.
That's insanity.
Gall.
So this is a good example of the type of questions that we get. Yeah, I guess, what do we say next time though? What's the advice? What would you tell this person?
Oh, I would just say, I respectfully decline, but why would my child not be, why would you think I would want to go and my child not be invited?
Yeah, I think something along those lines. Yeah, I mean,
how would you say it, Nick?
I think we want to make it clear, unfortunately, I can't chaperone because my child's not invited. And I think we could say that even more as just a statement, because I think you have to decide, do you want a conversation? Are we going to ask the open-ended question? Do we actually want to engage? Or is it just I can't because my child's not invited? Full stop. Yeah. But I mean, in the face of this kind of rudeness, I mean, what do we do? I mean, seriously, that is really ballsy. Right? Here's a controversial question.
Okay.
A friend wants my recipe for my famous chocolate cake, and I don't want to give it to them. It's sort of my signature cake, and it's something that I'm known for. How do I decline? Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about sharing recipes? Right?
I'm kind of selfish in the fact that I want the recipe if it's that good of a cake, but I also understand where this person is coming from. If that's her signature, she just get that.
What do we do?
If you really want the cake though, Nick, because some cakes are worth it.
And do you want to be that person and be like, no, I'm not going to give it to you?
I don't want to be that person, but I think I would. Keep special things special. And you know what? Sometimes you just have to hold a little bit back for yourself.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I feel like, well, I think we don't want to sabotage. I think one option would be like, oh, I'll give you the recipe, but I'm going to sabotage it. And I'm going to leave something out.
Oh,
that is
very, that's a little dark. Yeah.
But that's rude. That's bad etiquette. So don't do that. Although many people would be tempted to do that. I think my feeling is like, I bake a lot. My technique's pretty good. You're never going to be able to do this cake the way I do it. So I'm not that worried about it. So like, here's the recipe. Okay. I feel like that's kind of my attitude.
That is kind of true though.
There's a lot of other cake recipes. I can figure out a different bun cake. So like part of me feels that way. And then also, do they really want it? Because like, you know, we're always at those dinner parties. We're like, oh, this is so good. Oh, can I get the recipe? And we don't mean it. Like we don't actually mean it. Right?
I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to really make it.
I'm just trying to give you a compliment, but I don't really.
Right. You know? Right.
But okay, you're just going to be like, nope, my signature. That's your
final answer. I would. I think I'd a little bit like, just like, unfortunately, I can't give it to you. This is just, it's, you know, it's my signature.
I think that's okay. I think it's okay.
I would probably give it, but I would not want to. How about that?
Okay, fair enough. Here's sort of a bonker situation. Last year, myself and 4 friends decided that we would make a bit of an effort to go out to cultural events. So far, this has included going to 2 plays. The first was enjoyable, but the second was so terrible, we bonded over it. After the second play, one member of our group, let's call him Chad, called dibs on choosing the next activity. Recently, I discovered that a musical I'm very keen on seeing is coming to our city, so I invited those friends and some others to go see it. Almost immediately, someone from the smaller group responded with, Chad called dibs. It seems to have shut down the conversation and no one else has responded to my invitation. So my question is there a time limit when dibs can reasonably be considered expired? And should the dibs be considered valid when the invitation was extended outside the original group?
Oh my gosh.
Dibs. Let's talk about dibs. Do dibs expire?
I think dibs, I think it does. I mean, because anybody can just call, like when you're getting in a car to drive someone, or like a big car full of people, I call dibs shotgun. Yeah. It's immediate. It happens. There it is. Your dib is over. It's done. But to draw out a dib over like months, I don't know. Like who remembers it anyway?
So, these people remembered it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. When do they not want to go? Like, I feel like there's something else going on here. Is someone?
There's always something else going on in these questions.
Yeah. But I mean, but just
there's always some other level.
But just at face value, Nick. I mean, like, dibs does have an expiration date. Absolutely,
it should. Yes, and also, I mean, can we not do 2 things? Right? Like, is it so hard? Yeah. Like, Chad can still have dibs. He hasn't done anything with his dibs, but like.
Okay.
So then we're not right. So what should our letter writer do then? Be like, Chad called dibs. That's cool. We'll do his thing when he plans it. Anyone want to go to the musical? Right?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Right.
Or just say, Chad, is this your dibs?
Okay. Oh. All right, Chad, are you going to call in? Okay.
Yeah,
bring him in. Bring him into the park. Make it his idea. You know, sometimes when you make it their idea, it goes a lot better.
Does that really work though? Is that successful strategy?
Sometimes it used to work for me. Now my husband's caught on. So, I mean, okay.
Then I'll give you my last bonkers then.
Okay, I love a bonker.
So we have a segment which we call Etiquette Crime Reports. Etiquettecrime.com, you can file one. If you're out in the wild and something insane happens and you want to file an etiquette crime report, we'll take it.
My gosh.
They're so fun. Oh, my inbox is so fun. So here's one we got, and it is truly bonkers. Recently, we were at the airport sitting in the back of the waiting area at our gate. We knew the flight was delayed, so I got comfortable. I tucked my suitcase under my legs and used it as a footrest. I made sure I wasn't blocking traffic and no one was in front of us, just a wall. I was wearing sandals. A grown man walked by, reached down, and tickled my toes and said, "Coochie coo." I was dumbstruck, and my husband was so mad he almost got out of his seat. It was a did that just happen moment? It felt so gross. Who does that? In what world is it okay to touch a stranger's feet?
Okay.
Coochie coo.
It's not okay, Nick. It's not okay to do that.
No. Full stop.
However.
No, there is
It's
no
really funny.
however here.
It's
Okay,
funny.
but Nick, hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay.
If you're going to prop your feet up, stick them up there.
Uh-huh.
To me, don't you think the coochie coo was a little like, lady, put your feet down? You think that was a passive aggressive? Or was it kind of like a little inappropriate?
I think we can allow that as a possibility.
Okay.
A very charitable, extremely unlikely possibility. But we could put it on the whiteboard if that makes you feel better about this.
Well, let's put this one on the whiteboard while you're putting things on the whiteboard. So, like when I go to church, at my mom's church, there's a lot of older people. And this is a true story. It's a true story. And so there is this gentleman there that, we always hug and embrace. And normally it's a kiss on the cheek. Okay. But sometimes it's a chase to get a little peck on the lips. Do I just let him just have his moment and enjoy it? Or do I keep dodging? I
think we dodge. We don't live in a world in which you have to put up with unwanted kissing. No, we don't live in that world.
Even if he's an older gentleman and he's just getting what he can.
No. Okay. You set boundaries and feel comfortable setting those boundaries. Yes. We don't have to, no.
That's a little bit like the coochie coo. That's a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's just personal space. We don't touch people who do not want to be touched. I think that is just the rule.
Can I just say that's hard for me because we're huggers. So like I would go like to foreign countries and just hug people. That's not what you do. I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah, etiquette is local. Yeah, so we want an idea of personal space very different around the world. So
it is very different.
Yeah, when in doubt, keep your distance until you're invited in. Yeah. Got it.
Okay. Yes. Coochie coo on that one.
Can I just, that foot thing, that was from a recent episode of your show, right? I remember, it's like fresh in my mind when you started saying it. I was like,
you'll never forget it.
You'll never forget it.
No. Yeah. It's a really, people do not have the etiquette. I want to tell you this though about my husband. This is a counseling / etiquette question. So we just had a big fight about this on Monday. So we're talking light conversation, just passing through. We're in the kitchen. This happens all the time. I need you to teach me how to handle this. So he says, I say, oh my gosh, the end of July, I know, let's go do the college visits. In this one particular college where my son's going to play tennis and we're going to go and look at it. And I said, I'd love to go and look at it that week because I'm off. Well, he challenges me. He goes, well, we need to get it applied first. He's always challenging everything I say. And so at the first go round, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but let's make a visit. Let's all go together. He'll challenge me again on something that's just random, has nothing to do with it. It's within the scenario, Nick, but it's not what I'm saying. By the third time he says it, I lose my mind. I lose my temper. I lose my attitude, goes out the window. Is that okay, proper etiquette? Because honestly, sometimes he don't understand what I'm trying to say until I get all crazy. And then I'm like, well, don't get so crazy. But I said it 3 times.
I think, that's a relationship question. That's not an etiquette question. But I think there are some etiquette.
Kim's just like, no.
Did you see how I tried to rope him in?
But there are some etiquette themes that do come up in what you're saying. And so one of the things that I think you can think about is that in etiquette, sometimes when we're bothered by something, if we reframe how we think about it and feel about it, we might feel better about it. So I think, in some etiquette situations, if we could just remember like, oh, this person didn't hold the door open for me at the daycare maliciously. This wasn't a malicious act. It was just, they just weren't thinking. Yeah. And we can sometimes maybe feel better about that. Like that wasn't about me. That was just sort of like they were having their day and their moment. And so, is this a malicious act of not hearing you? I think that's one way to think about it. And in etiquette, the idea of pestering people and when they've already set a boundary, that is often rude. This comes up at at a dinner party if the host is like, oh, have some mashed potatoes. And you're like, oh, I'm good, thank you. And the host is like, no, really, have mashed potatoes. Why aren't you having my mashed potatoes? They're delicious. No, really, I insist. And you're like, no, I'm good. That's not great etiquette because you set a boundary. It was like, I'm good. Thank you so much. And because somebody just kept pushing that boundary. So I think, if we wanted to use those etiquette lessons in this, those would be some themes. But etiquette and relationships are actually very different worlds, because etiquette is really about behavior. Etiquette doesn't really care about what you feel inside, Now, ideally, your outward behavior will eventually match your inner behavior. And these will be the same thing. And so when you're acting nice and kind and polite, you will also be nice and kind and polite inside. But if you want to hold that door open for me and smile, but inside you hate my guts, I'm good with that as a starting point. Like you did the thing and you were nice. We'll start there. Ideally, inside, you'll also be nice and polite. But like, I don't necessarily need that for good etiquette.
You don't have to have both. Yeah.
Right. So etiquette is, like the famous line from Into the Woods. I was raised to be charming, not sincere. And so, the idea is let's just act politely first. And then ultimately, my hope, my dream for my audience, for the world, is that we'll also be polite, be kind in our core. But if we could just start with the behavior, then that would solve a lot of problems.
Oh my God. Okay. That was just, you say you're not talking about relationships. You're absolutely right. That is like, you don't feel and act, you act, and then the feeling follows. I love that.
Could be, yeah. But etiquette at the end of the day is about behavior and how we act.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you actually made me think of, I just want to share this because this just popped into my head. This is the best etiquette hack I have personally, and it's like changed my life actually.
Okay.
And I want to get your take on this. It's so funny. You're talking about mashed potatoes a minute ago, made me think of this. So I read that when you're at someone's house eating a meal, they don't notice how much food you put on your plate. They notice how many times you went back for more. So if you intentionally put a lot less food on your plate and knowing I don't have enough food here, I'm going to go back for seconds, then the host will feel the compliment of you going back and taking seconds and will appreciate that. And I do that. I do that everywhere now. Like if I'm at someone's house, I will take less food than I think I'm going to eat purposefully to go get seconds so that they feel like, oh, Zach really enjoyed it here. Zach really liked the food.
Okay. I mean, that seems like a successful strategy. I mean, the converse is not great, to take more food than you were going to eat and then leaving it on your plate.
Yes.
That's not great.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay. Then I guess that's a good hack. I mean, a good host will probably notice all of these things, but a good host would never say anything to you.
Okay.
A good host would never. I mean, it's rude to comment on people's what people are eating.
You're not taking like an egregiously small amount of food. It's not like you're taking
one
3
pea.
peas.
You're paying. Yeah. I just think what I hear you saying, Nick, is that you're putting yourself almost in other people's shoes. When you're practicing good etiquette, it's just treating people as you would want to be treated.
Oh, you cracked the code. Yes. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. Yes.
Oh my God. I knew I was an etiquette expert.
It comes down to having empathy and compassion. Yeah. That's kind of what etiquette is at the end of the day. It's just like, realizing like, if the role were reversed, how would I want this thing handled? And often that's the right etiquette answer.
And that's why we need you and need your podcast. Okay, before I let you go, you cannot leave here without doing the rapid fire questions. We do it with everybody. What comes up, comes out. I don't know if that's good etiquette, but these are good ones. These are etiquette rapid fire questions. Okay, here we go.
Rapid fire questions.
Is it okay to let your kids be on screens for the whole meal at a restaurant?
No.
I know, but I do it.
Do I need to elaborate? How much rapid fire we need?
You're elaborating.
You can elaborate if you want.
Elaborate.
I think being at a meal is a social experience, and it is a very important life skill for your kids. And I think everything we do with our kids is about teaching them life skills and giving them tools that they need for the rest of their life. And so it is going to be a very important tool that they can be at a social function, at a restaurant, a meal, make conversation, be polite, be present, make other people feel included. That's really important. And if we're on our phone the entire time, we are going to miss out on that skill. So I think it is important because this is a thing. So we all need this throughout our entire life. There's not a time in our lives when like this is no longer a thing. And they're going to be on dates. They're going to be in business meetings. They're going to be on interviews. And so getting practice, this is very important. So yeah, no screens.
Okay. Is it okay to not tip for takeout?
There's a lot of reasons why we tip in the United States. The tipping situation in the United States is completely broken. It's a completely broken system of compensation. And the idea that like your wages are based on my whims in restaurants, like this is not a great system. It's not fair. It's not ideal, but it is the system we have. I think if you can, it would be nice to tip. Are you obligated? No, you do not have to. You do not have to tip at takeout when you pick it up. But I think if you can, I think it's nice. If it's, if a couple bucks to you is not going to make or break you, it would be nice if you would. But it is not definitively required. The same way, like, you must tip 20% in a restaurant if you're dining. Like, that's just like the deal. That's not really negotiable. Takeout, yeah. If you're picking it up, okay. Maybe flexibility. But I feel like when in doubt, err on the side of generosity.
But you're not tipping 20% for takeout, right? I mean,
no, you're not. You're probably tossing in a couple of bucks depending on what it is, or maybe it's 10% or like something. But or you could do 20%. Have at it. But I think it is nice if you can. But tipping fatigue is real. Like, these tipping screens that are showing up everywhere, like, it's totally exhausting. Like, self-checkout at a supermarket, now there's a tip option. Like, who is this for? What is this?
Oh my God, tipping fatigue. That's a whole episode.
Yeah, no, it's a real big problem. Yeah.
It's a big problem.
Yeah. You were on Tim and Hall talking about tipping, right? That was one of the things.
Yeah, tipping is, yeah. So where's the wildest place you've ever heard of asking for a tip? Like, I mean, is that the grocery store line?
Yeah, I mean, a self-checkout at a supermarket
that's
is
insane.
That's not a place that we're tipping. Right. I purchased things online. Like, I think I bought like a sweater or something, and at checkout online, there was an option to add a tip. I was sort of like,
to who?
Surely
to who?
This is just a configuration issue with your e-commerce system.
What?
Right.
But yeah, no, tipping is out of control. And the tipping screens, it gives a lot of people anxiety because you're forced to actually say no tip. Before, you could just ignore the tip jar. Now you actually have to actively, in front of the person a lot of the times, be like, boop, no tip. That's really hard to do. But I think it would be nice if we actually eliminated tip in the United States and we actually just changed the compensation system where we didn't actually need this. But that would require, I think, an act of Congress at this point.
And we know how that's going to turn out. Okay, here we go. Is it okay to use AI to work behind your boss's back or to help you out with your school papers?
I think AI is a tool, like anything else.
I love AI. I love it.
But I think, it's sort of like poetry. You have to know the rules in order to break them. So you have to know the real information in order to use AI. Like, I've tried AI for etiquette stuff, and it's not always correct or what I would recommend. And if you didn't know the real thing, you might just go with that and oh, what have we done? So yeah, I think AI is a little tricky. I do not recommend it for thank you notes and things like that. Because also it defeats the entire purpose of writing a thank you note, which is thoughtfulness. And then if you suck the thoughtfulness out of the thoughtful act, then there is nothing left.
What's the point? Right.
Exactly.
Okay. What if you find a $20 bill on the floor of Walmart? Do you just keep it or you turn it in?
I mean, I think it's clearly not yours. I think we want to see, is there anybody around who this might be? Yeah, I mean, I guess turning in would be, I think, technically the correct thing, right? If you drop $20, what would you want to have happen?
Yeah, but what if that person is long gone, honey? I'm just like Travis found a $100 bill at a mall. I mean, there was nobody there. Who knows how long he'd been sitting there?
Yeah, I mean, is that etiquette? Is that ethics? Yeah, I mean, I guess keep it. I don't know. Do something good with it. Have it paid forward.
Maybe pay it forward. Pay it forward. Yeah, I love that. That's great. Okay. So is it okay to hug somebody you just met? Hey, how are you?
Well, as we've discussed, yeah, I think we got to read the room. Is this a hugger?
Okay.
Is this welcome? Is this a handshake relationship? Is this a bow? Is this we just nod? So I think we want to kind of read the room or see what they go in for first, and then just match what they're doing.
Okay, match the energy. Okay,
yeah.
Is it okay to recline your seat on the airplane? I feel so guilty about it when I do because I hate it when someone does it to me.
Yeah.
But then, okay.
I mean, etiquette is not about what you can do. It's what you should do. So yeah, you can not hold the door open for somebody, but you should. So yeah, you can recline. The button is there. It is possible. But should you? So I think the way to determine that is who's behind you? Is this a daytime flight? How long is this flight? Do I really need to? I mean, for me, this versus this, I'm comfortable in the same way. Like it does not change my life at all. Like I do not get, it's not like, oh, so uncomfortable.
A scathing indictment of the transportation industry.
Oh, so uncomfortable. Relaxing. Right. I mean, like it doesn't make a difference in my life. I think before we're boarding, I think if you're real tall and you really don't want the person in front of you to recline, that's a great time to bring that up. Like, hey, I'm real tall, as you can see, because we're all standing right now. Are you planning on reclining during this trip? If so, like, oh, maybe let me swap across the aisle, or like maybe let's move around some seats, or just to put you on notice of like, oh, I'm real tall. So like, if you are going to recline, just give me a heads up first so I can reorganize. And I think before you recline, it's nice to take a look back. Like, oh, do they have their laptop out? Are you going to snap it? Is this mealtime? And when you do it, go slow. I have had a lot of near misses with my laptop where that seat came down real fast and it was sort of like, you can snap a laptop. Yeah, if your laptop kind of catches under the lip sometimes of like the tray table where like, there could be damage. So I think we just want to be mindful, like, oh, someone behind me does exist. And so, what is this going to do to their life?
I got a good one here. So say you're at a restaurant or a concert and you're with your spouse, and you see an attractive male or female, is it proper etiquette to say something and stare or just ignore?
I'm gonna turn that around. What do you think?
Well,
what do you think?
I mean, Travis and I have been married for almost like 30 years. So for me, I'm like, yeah, get it where you can, honey. But I'm just saying, like, it's probably not appropriate. But I mean,
I think know your audience, but also know how you think you might make that person feel if you're like staring at them.
Yeah. Because I mean, so there's some etiquette there couples, too. There's some etiquette because that's just, proper etiquette there goes a long way. What's the best way to split a bill when it's a large group of people going out for a meal? Like, cause it's always like, I know it's horrible.
I mean, I think there could be different ways to do it. I think it's probably the nicest if the idea is like, oh, we're all each paying our own way. I think the easiest sometimes is like, let me put on my card. I will just like send you Venmo requests and then like do it that way. That's kind of like the easiest rather than, or we're going to split it, 6 ways that the restaurant will do that. If we're trying to itemize though, like let's not make the restaurant like, $22.50 on this card, $37.90 on that. Like, let's not do that.
Let's just take it and split it.
One person can take responsibility and then like, oh, pay me back. Better etiquette, though, is I got this time, you get next time.
Right.
Unless we have a family member like yours, which is like, oh, my turn? Oh, we'll skip that.
Oh, I missed that day. Okay. I have some normal rapid fire questions because I'm going to tell you something, Nick. You are like, I could hang out with you a lot. You're fun. You're funny. You're smart. You're absolutely good looking, gorgeous. Oh. And I can just tell your spirit is amazing. So I'm just going to ask you some random questions that have nothing to do with etiquette just because I'm interested in you. Okay. Who is the most interesting celebrity you've ever interviewed?
Interesting celebrity. I think Martha Stewart. It was very quick interview, but I really, when I met her, I was like, oh, I get it. I
don't you get it?
Yeah.
What do you? Okay, me too. I just met her not too long ago for the first time, and I'm obsessed. What do you mean by I get it? Because I get it too.
It's that this is a person who really loves the world she's created. The idea of having special wrapping paper for certain things, vintage linens, gardening shears from Japan, beautiful, like intricate meringues. Like she really, truly, in her core, loves it. It's not a brand. It's not a business. It's who she is.
It's an experience. Yes.
Yeah. It's 360. And the fact that she is so passionate about just all of these things, I get it. It's like, oh, it's not an act. This is not facade. This is not CEO. And you've created, and you fell into something. It's like, no, you took the thing that you loved and you ran with it. And like, oh, should we all be so lucky? So yeah, I think Martha Stewart.
I want to sit down and just have 30 minutes with her. I told her I'd pay her. I said, I just want to just talk to you for 30 minutes.
Ultimate dinner party guest. Yeah.
Oh God. Ultimate.
That would be stressful though. Wouldn't it be stressful to have Martha over?
No. I think she would be very gracious.
Yeah, because she's got great etiquette, and etiquette is about making everybody feel good. And I bet her dinner parties are chill. actually probably pretty casual. And yeah, if you don't use the right fork, who cares? Yeah.
Yeah. And yummy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
she got good taste. Oh my gosh. Me too. I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
If you could invent one thing right now, what problem would you solve with your invention?
I would invent a thing that makes people say thank you. I would invite some device that gave you an electric shock if you don't. some device that just made everyone say please and thank you.
I love that.
So I think if we could achieve that, then I would win a Nobel Prize for Peace.
You would, yeah, and you would make a ton of money doing it too. Okay. What advice, Nick, would you give to your younger self?
Ooh, good question. I think the best advice is actually something that I heard during my high school graduation. This was like, we think about like, the commencement address and like, who remembers what that was? Except like, wear sunscreen, which is good advice.
Very good advice.
During my commencement in high school, the theme was that don't wait for something to start your life. There is this idea that, once we get to high school, okay, then we begin now at college. Oh, no, once we graduate from college, well, then our life begins. Or once we get our first job, once we get married, and it's all these milestones, and the bar just gets, and it's like, no, life it's happening. We are in it. Mm-hmm. Life is actually happening. Like, let's not wait for something in the future to like begin. And that really stuck with me. Because it's like, it's now. This is now currently happening. So I really do. I'm not waiting for anything in the future to get going on anything. It's like, no, life is currently happening to me.
Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
What is your favorite junk food? Sweet and salty.
Oh, so I actually grew up in like a vegan household. And so I did not grow up with a lot of sugar, junk food. I've never had Pepsi. I've never had a Cheeto. I've actually never been to Walmart.
What?
And so there's a lot of life experience. I am American. I am an American citizen. But there's just a lot of life experiences that I've just never had. I've never been to a Burger King. So a lot of things that hasn't happened to me. But I do for sweet. In terms of like mass produced junk food, I really do like peppermint patties. I think there's something about peppermint patties.
Oh my God, I love peppermint patties. Yes. They're cool and refreshing.
And then for salty, I really do like a sour cream Pringle. I feel like that is a really well-balanced item. And then just for a bonus.
It's the crunch.
Orangina. I love an Orangina because I don't know, can you buy them in a store? I've only seen them in like random restaurants or delis. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you could commercially buy Orangina. Because like, who has Orangina in their house right now? Nobody. But we do like it. We do like it as a society.
I gotta try that. Right? An Orangina.
Have you never had Orangina?
It's orange soda, right? Isn't it just a
type
of
orange soda?
Yeah.
All right, twist, something you haven't had. Yeah.
That is
I'm
a
gonna
twist.
have to get that. Okay. Yeah. Who is your celebrity crush right now?
Well, right now I'm really deep into Judith Martin, who is Miss Manners. So she's a celebrity. The more you learn about this woman, because she's Miss Manners, the famous Miss Manners, but like, she crashed like the Nixon daughter wedding. She was like front row for MLK's I Have a Dream speech. Like, she's like, her life, I mean, as a journalist, she's really amazing. So I kind of crush on her pretty hard. For other celebrities, I mean, there's so many amazing people that I'm in love with. I'm in love with like Maya Rudolph right now. She's hilarious. She's kind of doing it for me.
Her new show.
But sometimes you need different celebrities for different things. You know, it's like different flavors.
That's true.
Sometimes
what show are you binge watching right now? Like, just
so my tastes go very high-low. So we're fancy. And so, a documentary about Micah Heiser and moving a boulder to Los Angeles, contemporary art, yes. But I also love Love Island. I love Love Island.
Oh my gosh,
Nick. It doesn't get
Nick.
lower than that. And I do not apologize. I don't apologize. And so I prefer Love Island Australia. That's kind of my go-to. The seasons are only like 30 episodes instead of 60 episodes. Love Island USA, I hear, is very good this season, so I'll have to dip in. But no, we love a good trashy dating show. Yeah.
Okay. So you have highs and lows. I love it. All right, Nick, I just love you so much. You have to come back. Y'all,
Likewise.
You can connect with Nick on Instagram at Nicholas. That's his full name, Nicholas Leighton, or on his website, nickleighton.com. And make sure you subscribe to his podcast, Were You Raised by Wolves? And I have to say it like that. Were You Raised by Wolves? It's so much fun and you're going to love it. Nick, thank you for coming. You are how can I describe this?
Please, I have a lot of time. Yeah, let's keep it coming.
You are, I don't know, I would say you're very unique and very flavorful.
Okay, I will take that. So
is that
likewise.
proper etiquette?
A nice compliment? Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Always.
And if we were in person, I might try to kiss you on the cheek, but I would not go in for the mouth. That's not proper etiquette.
Okay, at least not the first time.
Right.
Not the first time.
It sounds like he's okay with it. It sounds like Nick's like,
he's okay. His favorite show, one of his favorite low shows is Love Island. So
we can go to the Hideaway. Absolutely. Let's do it, Kim.
oh my gosh.
Let's do it.
All right, y'all got to check Nick out. Check him out. You got to download the podcast, You Were Raised by Wolves, and let's, it's hilarious and fun and informative. So till next time, love y'all. Bye, Nick.
Bye.
Come back.
Bye, y'all.
Let's do it.
We're done. Like 5 minutes and we're out. So let's do.
It. I love you.
Okay. I love you too, Kim.
It was a $50 gift card.
It doesn't matter what it was. Okay.
Hit the cha-ching, Zach. Hit the cha-ching. There you go. You want to do it again?
Oh, that was so fun.
Oh my God, Nick. You are a riot.
Likewise, this was a blast.
If you like this episode, here's another one I think you're going to love. Zach, how long am I going to have to point at this? Is this enough?